Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Well, today I've called this video Back to Basics because of late I've just been doing quick and easy startups, and I think it's good to keep fresh in our minds the correct way of doing things. Now I remember doing startup videos on 737s way back in the days of the 737 MAX. Boy, I had a lot of fun with that plane. Great plane to have fun on and get up and fly. But since I've had the PMDG 737, I've been doing quite a lot more research, quite a lot more study, trying to do things correctly, trying to do things the study level way, because it is a study level plane plus some. So that's made some of my earlier startup videos a little bit redundant as far as the correct way of doing things. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a video today, just a startup with the 737 from woe to go, just so that I can have it on my record as well, because I will save this video for myself for future references. And I will put together everything that I've learnt to date. Now, I'm not there yet. I'm not a full-on professional flight simmer or pilot, so there will be things that I'm not doing correctly or whatever. But I'm putting together everything that I've learnt so far, okay? And probably in a month or two, when I've learned a little bit more, maybe I'll update it. But this startup video will be a lot more concise and a lot more accurate than the ones I did many months ago. So I'm just going to try and do it as good as I possibly can, as accurate as I can, and we will add to it and improve on it later on. In a few more months as our knowledge and experience grows. Feel free to add comments below that may help us, because I am learning with this 737, and a lot of the people who watch my channel are also learning. So we're sort of learning together. We're trying new things and just trying to add to our knowledge and experience as we go. So I'm going to start right from scratch. We may not even get flying. We're just going to go through the bare basics and the correct way of starting up the 737, utilizing what we know and what we've learnt so far. Okay, right, so here we are. We're at San Diego, our beautiful head office, Jet-In Airways head office, and we're in our beautiful Jet-In 737-700, painted in our livery. So let's get on board the cockpit and get things underway. Right, so here we are in the cockpit. I'm not going to rush through. I'm not just going to take my time, try to remember as many things as I can. I'll turn my ugly dial off so we can see everything. Now, normally when I come onto the plane, I will do a bit of a walk through the cabin. I will check that there's been nothing left behind by the cleaners, any buckets, any sponges or mops or cleaning bottles and stuff like that. So it's completely clear and tidy when I come into the plane. The other thing I do when I walk into the cabin is I check down here to make sure this hatch is closed, the one for the wind down landing gear. If you have a landing gear failure, you can wind it down manually here through this hatch. So I make sure it's closed properly in case any maintenance or technicians have been in. I also check the fuses, make sure there's none that have popped out. If they've popped out, that means a fuse has blown. So we need to get a technician on board to either replace the fuse or check the reason why it has popped out or reason it is blown. This container here, this cabinet here, is where all the spare fuses and light bulbs and everything are kept. So I check that that has been closed properly. And the escape rope hatch is all closed and secure, and none of those things have been tampered with. Okay, so before we do the cold and dark startup, we have to actually check that the plane is ready for a cold and dark startup. So we've got to check everything is in the right place, because as soon as you add power to an aircraft, things start to happen. And if one of the control surface levers or switches are in the wrong place, when you add power, even just battery power to an aircraft, those moving surfaces will start to move into the position that has been set in the cabin. So you've got to make sure everything is off or in the neutral position, okay? So let's just start that we're actually ready for a cold and dark starter. First of all, the throttle is in the neutral position, the flaps are up, air brakes are all off, the gear lever is down. So we come up to the top panel and we work down our switches and dials and buttons, starting from the left. We come down and then we head over to the right panel by panel. All these switches are off, fuel pumps switches are all off, lights off, up to the next one. All these switches are off. Windscreen wipers are off, over to the next one. Everything is off or in neutral. Down this one. Now these buttons are on, but they can stay on all the time. It doesn't really matter. They are not. These are the hydraulic pumps, the two in the middle. The two on the outside, what they basically do is open a little valve and feed oil into the electric pumps. So if these are open, but the pumps are not on or going, the oil doesn't go anywhere anyway. So these are just like turning the tap on or turning the tap off. They're like the oil valves that feed the oil through to the electronic pumps, the electric hydraulic pumps. So if they're on all the time, it doesn't really matter. By default, they seem to be always on, but that is fine. So we come down here, everything is in the off position, up to this one. Isolation valve is open, that is fine. Engine bleeds are on, that is fine. Down here, strobe light, make sure the lights are off and everything is off. Oh, okay. So the first we can do, now we want to get the plane all started or get things happening, is we can add power to the aircraft by turning on the DC power, which is our battery. So we turn on our DC power. Now that's not going to last long, of course, and we want to spend quite a bit of time setting up our plane, setting up our FMC. So we can come down here and we can connect up to land power, ground services, and we can select ground power. Okay. Now you notice there's 4 pages here. We'll also request air conditioning. Okay. We want some air conditioning because we can't turn on our packs yet. So it could get a bit hot and sticky here for the crew and everyone while they're getting ready. The passengers are coming on board. So we'll get our air conditioning unit attached, our ground unit attached, so we can breathe properly and feel a bit more comfortable. 4 pages. Let's go to the next page. Portable water. We can get that requested. Lavatory request. Okay, so what they will do is they'll do whatever they need to do to clean out the toilets and fresh water for flushing and all that kind of thing. They'll make sure it's nice and clean. Fuel tank request. We got plenty of fuel. I don't think I'll worry about the fuel at this stage. Wheel chocks are set in position. Now, we said that we asked for ground power. Ground power. Okay, so ground power has arrived. So we need to actually turn it on up here. So we'll turn on the ground power. Now we can take our time and go through all our procedures, our startup procedures, our FMC, and do all the things we need to do. And we're not going to wear down our battery. As you can see, all our systems are now powered up nicely. Okay, so let's have a look outside the aeroplane and see what's actually happening out there. It is a busy place. Okay, so here you can see our air conditioning, our power supply here for our land power. You can hear the motor chugging away there like a little generator. It's really quite cool. And this hose over here, that is our air conditioning unit. So that is sending air into our air conditioning, into our packs, so that we feel nice and cool and comfortable and can carry on with things as normal. So let's have a look over this side. We'll walk out around over here. We'll see what's going on over here. Here we've got our lavatory service. Okay, so they are cleaning out the lavatory water, the fresh water they'll be topping up, and the black water or grey water they will be emptying and flushing and cleaning everything out there, making it look and smell everything nice and fresh and clean. And we've got another truck here, another beautiful Mercedes truck, portable water. He'll be topping up all our water for all our taps and our gully and all those sort of things. And you can see our water there all connected up, so we're getting fresh water pumped into the aircraft. So that is all great. Beautiful, isn't it? Very, very nicely modelled. Okay, now the other thing we didn't order, but we can, I think, here somewhere, is our catering service. Didn't see that somewhere. Steers. Next page. Maintenance. Fuel truck request. Cabin cleaning. Oh yeah. Oh, passenger bus. Let's get the passenger bus over, because I haven't seen the passenger bus. So we'll get the passenger bus to bring some very VIPs over to the steers. Cabin cleaning request. Let's get everything cleaned as well. Probably not the right time to clean, to be honest, but I just want to see them do it. Forward loader request. Forward carts. Aft loader request. Aft carts. So let's get all these things going. We'll just have a look at them, because some of these things I've never ever seen before, even though I've done heaps of flights in this plane. I've never actually taken the time just to sit inside the cabin and play with buttons and switches and have a look at all the ground services. And I think it's a good thing to do that sometimes. Get to know the aircraft, get to know how everything works, what all the things that are going on. Now look at this. This is a busy place, isn't it? This is a busy place. Now here is our luggage. Here is the little lift for our luggage to go in place there. Now over here we've got the cabin services, so that'll be our catering. Our catering truck is here. We're putting all the catering and everything in. Beautiful. So we're getting the full works today, really, the full Monty. We're getting fully serviced, okay? We're getting cleaned and topped up and refreshed and powered up. Very, very nicely modelled. Very, very nice. Okay, so while they are doing all that, while they are doing all that, we could do things like putting our flight plan in here. We could put a little flight plan in here. I won't put a full flight plan in today because we may not get to fly, but I'll just put something in here anyway, just because we're going through the whole startup process today. So we'll go back to menu, FMC, and one of the things we need to do, of course, is to align the IRS. So we'll put that round to manual. Round to navigation. Here we go. Round to navigation. Control 3 gives us a beautiful view of the FMC. Okay, position in it. We need to put our coordinates in there. We'll go to the next page, click on that. Previous page, and we'll put that in there, and that is done. Okay, our origin, we're at San Diego, so I'll put KSAN in there. And just for the sake of the video, I'll say we're going to Los Angeles, so I'll put KLAX in there. KLAX, put that in there. Flight number, jet in 109, put that in there. And then we'll go back to route. No, we'll go to departure and arrive. We're going to depart runway 27, departure and arrive. KLX, we're going to arrive at 07 left, 07 right. There we go, ILS 07 right. Then we go back to legs, and we now need to activate it, otherwise we'll have no plan in the flight planner and our LNAV will not work. Okay, so now we just put in our legs here. Okay. Now, because I'm just going through a startup process today, I'm not really going to go through all that there. We can do that on another video. In fact, I do have a video on my channel with that on it. So that is all good. Now at this stage, we need to do a bit of a walk around outside. So I'm going to turn on our pumps, turn on our hydraulic pumps, and that puts pressure on all our hydraulic hoses and connections outside the plane. And if there's any oil leaks or anything dripping or loose, it will become obvious to us because there will be oil dripping out or being forced out of the hoses. If there is anything loose or any oil leaks, you'll also see it on the ground there. So we come into here, have a look in the wheel bay, just have a bit of a look around. There's no muck or stones or dirt or any oil leaks or anything in there that looks a little bit ominous. Everything is looking very good. Even the tires, the tire pressure all looks as good as well. So that is fine. Okay, we head over to the engine, have a look around the engine for anything that looks like it's scratched or marked or dented or any sort of thing in there that looks untoward, but it all looks very, very good there. Okay, the other thing I like to do is to just check out the leading edge of the wing. No dents or scratches or marks like something might have hit it. The leading edge looks all good. And I come around the back and I check the outlet for the APU. There's nothing in there, no birds or anything in there hindering anything. Also check the leading edges of the tail wing as well, see how they look. No marks or scratches or dents where anything's hit it. Sometimes machinery or equipment, things that are moving around the plane all the time, whether it's been serviced or whatever. Just make sure there's been no incidents that should be checked out. So that is all good. I'm very tall today, I can stretch right up. So all these leading edges look good. And I'll check this engine here. Everything looks good there. No marks or scratches or anything. Also the leading edge of this wing is all clean. No marks or scratches. And also we check the landing gear here. I think if we're very clever, we can probably get up into the wheel well. Can we? Oh yes, here we are. Here we are. We are in the wheel well. Okay, this is interesting, isn't it? Do you know what these big green things are here? These are the tanks for the hydraulic pumps. They are full of oil for the hydraulic pumps, those green things. The reason they are green is because they are painted with a special primer. so they don't rust or anything, or they don't corrode in any way, so they have that green primer on them. So they are the oil tanks for the hydraulic oil pumps. Okay, there's two there. There's also an extra one, which is a spare. It is a backup. Also got some lights as well, I think. Wheel well lights. I think there's some wheel well lights. There's also an overheat fire system here, a fire protection system. Can't quite see it, but that is here as well. So, yep, everything looks good. Everything looks okay to me. Not that I'm an engineer and don't really know what I'm looking at, but doesn't look like there's anything going on that we need to worry about, basically. If there was something wrong, I think it would be obvious. Okay, so that is our walk around done. We can go back into the cabin. We've got that much equipment here, we can't get to our steps. So we'll go back into our cabin. Whoops, a bit wonky with the drone today. And let's sit down. Okay, so that's the walk around done. We can now turn off our hydraulic pumps because we don't really want those on yet. Right, I'm going to start up my APU. So we need to move, let these people know who are doing our servicing and working on the plan that we're going to start out by our APU. So I think we need to let some of them go. So we'll come up here into the menu, actions, ground services. Okay, air conditioning, release the steers. We'll release the air conditioning. Portable water, we can release them. Lavatory maintenance van. Thank you guys. Thank you for coming today, fixing us all up. Passenger bus, cabin cleaning. We can release those guys. I didn't see the passenger bus. Oh, there it is. There it is over there. There it is. Let's go have a look at the passenger bus. Here we go. This is the PMDG passenger bus. Looks like an electric bus. Is it an electric bus? That looks awesome, doesn't it? Fantastic. That is a beautiful thing. PMDG passenger bus. So it brings our passengers over, our VIPs. Yeah, it's beautiful. Can we go inside? What's inside? Can we go inside? Anything inside? No, nothing inside. But it's a lovely looking bus. Beautiful. First time I've seen it, really. Okay. Right, so we can release the passenger bus and say thanks guys. Okay, release the passenger bus, the steers. Okay. The carts, catering carts, they can all go. Excellent. Takes them a little while to pack up and to get going. Okay, so let's put our beacon light on. We got our beacon light on just to show them that we are getting things started here. We're going to put on a fuel pump and we're going to turn on our APU switch. Get our APU started. Just wait for the exhaust pressure gauge to come up here. Was it the exhaust heat? The exhaust temperature gauge, I think that's what that is. The exhaust temperature gauge. So when that comes up, there we go, our APU is underway. Now we're going to wait for this light to come on, and that will tell us that we can run on our APU power rather than the ground power. So we'll just wait for that switch to come on there. And then we're going to go through some of our tests. Okay, so while that's coming on, I'll set our climb out speed at 250. 250 there. Okay, so we've got that light on. That's come on, the APU light. That means we can now run on our APU power. So I'm going to switch the APU over onto the bus. And we can now turn off our ground power and release our ground power guy. Ground power, okay, we can release our ground power generator, and we can come up here and physically turn off our ground power switch. So we're now running on our APU power. So while we're running on our APU power, we could continue to get our plane ready for departure. We can come down here, go to performance in it, and get everything set up for our trip. Okay, I'm going to start on the left side and then we'll go to the right hand side. Our zero fuel weight, if we click on that, it will be estimated in here because it knows exactly where we're going. We'll click that again and it will put it in there for us. Reserves, I'm going to click 1, meaning 1000. Cost index, I'm going to put 25. Now over this side, I'm going to put our altitude, which is 10,000 feet. And it's asking us to execute, so I will hit execute. Now we'll go to N1 limit. Everything is done there, nothing much to look at there, so we'll go to the next one. Okay, which is takeoff. We want flaps 5, so I'll put flaps 5 in there. Now see this here, CG percent for our trim. If we click on that one, it puts this number in down here, 22.3. Now if we click it again a second time, it will tell us how much trim we need to actually take off. We need 5.99 set on our trim, okay? So that's where we're going to set our trim. It calculates our weight, our fuel and everything. So that's all done for us. We set our trim for 5.99. Okay, now our VR speeds are all calculated for us. All we got to do is transfer them over to the right column by clicking the corresponding button there. So that's all in. Now we go to our legs and we've put our legs and everything in there, and that's all good. Execute. I'm not doing it today, but we'll put all our waypoints on there at this time. Always make sure you execute. Every time you put a waypoint in, it will ask you to execute. You can either put all your waypoints in together in one big bang and then execute, or you can put a waypoint in, execute it, another waypoint, and then execute it. Normally I'll do about 2 or 3 waypoints and then I will execute it. Then I'll do 2 or 3 more waypoints and execute it. Just so long as it's completely executed and it's been done when you're finished. Otherwise, it won't show up properly in your flight plan and your autopilot won't actually work. Okay, so we're running on our APU. We should be getting quite a bit of heat fumes out the back there. There it is. Airports don't like you running for very long on your APU. Can you imagine 50 to 100 planes all running on their APU? The fumes and the pollution around the airport would be unbelievable. So they don't really like you running on your APU for very long. Now we've still got a food car, a catering truck outside. So I'll come in here and check what that guy is doing there. We've still got a catering truck there. Next page, cabin cleaning. Oh, that's the cabin cleaning truck. So we need to release him. Thank you guys. Cheers. See you next time. Okay, so we are free of all that. Okay, so the next thing we do is go and make sure we have clearance for departure. Limbo clearance, depart straight out. Taxi clearance, depart straight out.
Lindbergh ground, Jetton 737 with whiskey request taxi for takeoff departing straight out.
Jetton 737 taxi 2 and hold short of runway 27 using taxiway Bravo, Bravo 8, Bravo, Bravo 1. Contact tower on 118 decimal tree when ready.
Okay, acknowledge taxi clearance.
Taxiing hold short runway 27 via taxiway Bravo, Bravo 8, Bravo, Bravo 1 Jetton 737.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I haven't done my tests yet, so I need to do my tests before I do my engine start. I'm going to bring my flaps down to 5. And my trim, adjust my trim. Now I'm probably doing it in this wrong order. I probably should have done this while I was on ground power, but some of the tests you cannot do until you're running on AC power. You're running on battery power, DC power, some of the tests are not effective. You need AC power to do some of the tests. So I'll start at the top with my tests and I work down from there. So up here we're going to check our flight recorder is on. I'm going to check our overspeed. Okay, and our stall warning check. Okay. Right, now we'll come down here to the next lot of checks and we will do our lights test. Yep, a warning lights test, so that is all good. 3 lights on. And then we'll come down here and do our fire test. 3 lights on. Okay, and we will do our this test. We'll switch that over and we do our wheel well overheating detection system. Okay, so that's checked the wheel well overheating fire detection, and we'll check our extinguisher bottles. 3 green lights means they are ready to extinguish, ready to be used, all ready to go. Now I'll also do a throttle test as well. I'll bring my throttle up, hear the beeping, and then I will bring it down. Okay, so we have taxi clearance. We have done all our tests. Now we check our lights. Taxi lights on. We can put our anti-collision lights on. And if our plane is clear and free of all service people and vehicles, we can go ahead and get our pushback underway. Now remember, we're getting pushback. We cannot start our engines until we are beyond that line at the back. We can't start our engines until our engines are actually past that line, okay? Now we make sure our brake is off. And make sure our chocks are removed as well. Chocks removed. Wondering why we're not moving very fast with the pushback, because we've still got our chocks in place. Okay, so pushback is underway and we can start getting ready to start our engines as soon as we're past that line there. So I'll come up here, I'll switch all my fuel pumps on, make sure the isolation valve is open. Right, our engines are about past that line. So I'll start the right hand engine, put that round to start. And I'll wait for these numbers to come up here. Don't forget, you need to put on the APU bleed. Right, that will do our pushback. Put our brake back on. These numbers are coming up, so we can add fuel to that engine. And we need to wait till we hear that click as the switch goes back to the central position. Then we can go ahead and start the second engine. Don't think we got pushback far enough actually, but never mind. Okay, we'll just wait for the switch to go back to the center. There it goes. So we'll start the left engine, click that round there. Now I've just noticed this area by our home base is actually a hill. I don't know if I mentioned it before on a previous video, and I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's actually a hill here. So when you get pushback, you've actually got to go uphill. I don't know if that's a bug with the game. Maybe it is a bug with the airport add-on. I think it should be flat. It looks rather weird. But the poor old tug has got to push the 737 up that little hill. Okay, so we can add fuel to that engine. And we're just going to wait for that switch to switch back to the central position. There it goes. Okay, so now I can switch these switches over to continuous, and we can now use the power through. We can now use our engines for our source of power other than the APU. So I'm going to switch the engines onto the bus 1 and 2, and I'm going to switch the APU off the bus, and I can turn off the APU down here, turn off the APU bleed. Now we have 2 good engine starts there. That is good. So now at this time we can go ahead and turn on our packs. Should be able to hear the fans firing up there, the fans coming up to speed. Turn on our window heats and our ice probes, and we can turn on our hydraulic pumps, and we'll turn on our emergency lighting, and we'll cover the switch, we'll cover the battery switch. Remember to turn your emergency lighting or the lighting up a little bit, otherwise if the emergency lighting is needed it will still be dark. So you need to have a little bit of light turned on just in case they come on automatically. You've actually got a little bit of light. Both engines working beautiful. Now the other thing I like to do as well is to do a control surfaces check. So we will switch this button here, and then we will look down here, and I can go through all the movements with my yoke and my rudders, and I will see that all the moving surfaces are all good. And once I've done that, I am okay to turn that MFD display off. Now you can see my flaps are on 5. I'm going to put my my auto brake around to RTO for rejected takeoff. Going to check that I have my flight plan in here. My climb out speed is going to be 250. I'm going to cruise at 10,000 feet. Can turn on my flight director now, the master one first, the one in the captain's control panel. Secondly, turn on the first officer's flight director. Now we have taxi clearance already, so we're okay to go. But I just go through my flow quickly first, starting from the top. move down, then over to the right. Okay. Yaw damper on, come down here, all fuel pumps are on. Over to the next panel, battery switch covered, ground power is off, engines are on the bus, taxi lights on. The next panel, emergency lighting on, covered, windscreen wipers are both off, engines are on continuous. The next one, window heat on, heat probes on, electrical pumps, hydraulics are on. Over to the next one, down, isolation valve open, engine bleeds on, and down, lighting on, strobe light on, anti-collision light on. Okay, so at this stage I have a quick look around, make sure there are no obstacles, planes or service trucks or vehicles, and I can go ahead, release my brake and bring the throttle up a little bit and begin our taxi to the runway. Okay guys, well that's it for today. Just a little video going over the basics and everything you need to do for a cold and dark and realistic study level startup. If there's anything I've missed or overlooked, please put it in the comments below, because I am just a beginner and this is what I know. This is all the things put together today is what I've learned so far. I've still got a long way to go and a lot to learn, but this is what I know so far. Okay, this is the level that I'm at the moment. Probably in a few months I'll want to do another one, because I'll be hopefully a bit more knowledgeable, a bit more experienced, but to date that's the best I can do as far as a study level startup, realistic startup. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you picked something up maybe that you didn't know before. And I like to do these startups sometimes just because, just to keep everything fresh in my mind really, because sometimes I'm feeling lazy or I just want to get flying. I'll do the quick and easy startup system and just take off. But every so often I think it's good to go back to basics, go right through the process, just to keep everything fresh in our minds, and that way if we do get stuck on something, we can troubleshoot and we know exactly what to look for and know what could have possibly happened if things don't go the way we planned. Okay, and that's a good thing about learning and studying more about the systems and the processes, because if something isn't working right, we're better equipped to find the fault, find the problem, and go through the process of troubleshooting. Anyway, I'll talk to you again soon on the next video. I'm going to do some more of our regional flights, and stay safe everyone, and hi to all the new subscribers. Hope you enjoy the channel. Take care everyone. Ciao.